Did you know that inside your body right now, there's a whole army of microscopic guardians working around the clock just to protect you? Well, today, we're going to get to know this incredible internal security team. We often think about our immune system as our main line of defense, don't we? But what if I told you there's another, even deeper level of protection? Something happening inside every single one of your cells. Let's dive in. All right, so the heroes of our story today are a family of proteins called sirtuins. You can pretty much think of them as the elite security detail for your entire body, but they're operating at a cellular level. Now, they're often called the guardians of the genome, and for a really good reason. Sirtuins are a family of 7 proteins, and they play this huge role in keeping our cells healthy and, regulating how we age. I mean, every single day, your cells are facing challenges from things like stress and inflammation. And sirtuins, they're right there on the front line, defending them and helping to keep everything in balance. But, and this is a big but, here's the catch. As we get older, the activity of these vital guardians can start to slow down, leaving our cells a bit more vulnerable. This decline is actually a key part of the science of healthy aging. So how exactly do they do it? How do they protect us? Well, let's go and meet the cellular repair crew and see how they get the job done. Okay, first things first, sirtuins can't work on their own. They need a special little helper molecule, a coenzyme, called NAD+, to even get going. Think of NAD+, as the fuel, or maybe the battery, that powers them up. Once they're all powered up, sirtuins get to work as this brilliant repair crew. They literally move along our DNA, tidying up genetic information and controlling which genes get switched on or off to keep the cell running just as it should. And it really is a team effort, The 7 different types of sirtuins each have a specific job to do. For instance, you've got Sirt1, which works in the cell's nucleus managing metabolism, while a whole other team is stationed in the mitochondria, that's the cell's powerhouses, controlling energy production. Now, this is what's really fascinating, how sirtuins are linked to our energy. When we fast and energy is scarce, our NAD+ levels actually go up, which flicks the switch and turns the sirtuins on. The repair crew gets busy. But when we're constantly eating, our NAD+ levels are lower, and that hardworking crew is, well, they're basically on a tea break. So if our lifestyle can put the repair crew on a break, does that mean it can also switch them back on again? Oh, absolutely. Let's look at how our diet and lifestyle can get your sirtuins fired up. So there are really 2 main paths we can take to get our sirtuins activated. The first is all about managing our energy intake with things like fasting, and the second is about including certain foods in our diet. Right, so science suggests the most effective and well-researched way to do this is simply by reducing our calorie intake. This sends a really powerful signal of scarce energy to the body, which, as we just saw, is the main trigger for sirtuins to kick into gear and start their repair work. But you can also give them a helping hand through your diet. Certain foods, sometimes called Sirt foods, are packed with compounds that seem to mimic the effects of fasting. And we're talking about everyday things here, like green tea, dark chocolate with high cocoa, blueberries, and kale. And one of the most famous of these compounds has got to be resveratrol. It's found in the skin of red grapes, and research has actually shown it can directly activate SIRT1. That's that key sirtuin we mentioned that's responsible for metabolism and DNA repair. So what's the big payoff for all this? Why should we even care? Let's take a look at the potential health perks of keeping your sirtuins active and happy. Honestly, the research is really promising. Keeping these pathways active is being linked to some pretty significant health benefits. Scientists are exploring how sirtuins could improve our body's ability to manage blood sugar, offer neuroprotection by safeguarding our brain cells, and maybe even support better long-term heart health. Now, before we all get carried away with dark chocolate and red grapes, it's so important to have a balanced perspective. So let's hear from an expert. Registered dietitian Yusra Sirtuin puts it perfectly. She says that while the science is super exciting, sirtuins aren't a magic bullet or an excuse to just focus on a few so-called superfoods. There's a much bigger picture. She stresses that their real power comes from how they respond to metabolic stress. And to support them, she recommends a really holistic approach, a diet that's full of lots of different colorful plants, combined with regular exercise and good quality sleep. It's about how all these habits work together. So the key takeaway here is this. It's not about one magic food or supplement. It's about creating an overall lifestyle that encourages your cellular guardians to do their very best work. Which leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Looking at everything we've just talked about, what's one small, simple change you could make in your daily routine to give your own cellular guardians a little bit of a boost?